Hey people, thank you for stopping by Building Wealth with Rajiv. Stress, it affects all of us in our daily lives, in our jobs. So I reached out to Alok, who is a corporate monk. He was a corporate guy like you, like me, and then he left the job and became a full-time mindfulness coach, a life coach. Alok and we talk about a few things. What causes stress? What can you do to minimize it? What is mindfulness and how it can help minimizing stress? What are some of the breathing exercises that can help you reducing the stress? I put some various links below, links of all those breathing exercises, some of the books which Alok recommended. Hope you like the chat. Please do comment what you think about it. And for such meaningful discussions, do follow my channel. Hey Alok, namaskar. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for giving time. Amazing. We've been talking, right? I mean, you've been my mindfulness coach, and this is. I thought I'll take it further and let other people know your goodness. Uh, we talk about a few things today, Alok. One of thing is obviously stress. In the corporate world, what causes it, and what how to work around it.
So, Rajiv, first of all, thank you very much for having me here, and my deepest gratitude. And I really love the kind of work that you're doing. I've been following your the kind of programs that you have been airing it, the interactions and stuff, super stuff. So, more power to you. And
Thank you.
Rajiv, coming back to your question, I think one of the most simplest and the easiest way of understanding the dynamics of stress is that whenever we bump into a situation, whether it is professional, whether it is personal, no matter what context we are talking about, and whenever we realize, think, and we start feeling that the situation that we are trying to handle is more powerful than us. And in that context, when we start feeling that emotional uneasiness, that's what is called as stress. And when I say that situation is more powerful, that means that we don't have the required resources, means, and strategies to deal with that situation. But when we are good at doing something, and when we know that we have the resources and means and strategies and experience to handle that situation, that's when we become powerful than the situation. And then that's when we say that it's like a piece of cake and I can
Okay.
do it easily. So that's when we have more certainty and stress is less.
All right. So how to prevent it, or I'm sure as long as we live, as long as
Yeah.
we're breathing, Alok, we'll
Yes.
have stress. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we'll have stress, we'll have an anxiety, but how to deal with it? How to feel like a winner, or how to feel like on top of your life?
Yes. That's a good question. And you rightly, it was a bullseye that the time we are alive, we'll always have that kind of ups and downs. We are going to feel that because that's the very nature and essence of life, right? That rough pasture that we go through. I would like to share these two common stress patterns, Rajiv, with you. After working with so many people, I started seeing these patterns. The first pattern is that most of the times, most of the people, if you see, whatever they're dealing with, it's not what they're dealing that is causing stress, but what they make out of it that causes stress. So medical science, we give it a term called perceived stress. So the stress that you're dealing, the actual thing that you're dealing with can be termed as X, but what you make out of it here in your head is 10X. So what is causing stress is not X. What is causing stress is 10X. And the second pattern that I've seen is in every situation, Rajiv, there are two components. The first component is your controllable, something that you can deal with, something that you can handle, control, manage, channelize. And the other component is which is non-controllable. You cannot do anything about it. But most of the times, most of the people, Rajiv, what happens is we just keep on focusing on the non-controllables. And that
Okay.
is what causes a lot of stress and makes us feel miserable at the end of the day. So I would say that number one, try to look at the situation as it is, focus on the X, not the 10X. And the second thing is that try to focus on the controllables. Then you'll be in a better place. Rajiv.
So imagine a situation. I'm feeling stressed
Yeah.
about a particular thing in my office. There's a low life character. Sorry to use
Yeah.
that word, which and it's a genuinely low life character, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking. I'm hypothetical. It's a hypothetical example,
Yeah.
right? You must have
Yes.
failed
Yes.
some people,
Yes. Yes.
and and there's a lot of politics, right, in office, and
Yes.
it's part of the game. It's
Yes.
you can't help it. I'm
Yes.
feeling very stressed about the situation,
Mm.
and I still have to be part of that that ecosystem.
Yes.
Now, what do you tell me? I mean, how will you manage that situation?
See, the thing is, we'll always have different characters around us, Rajiv. Everyone comes from a different background. Everyone is holding their own story. And whatever they are projecting on the world, whatever they're projecting to other people, it's nothing but their own learnings, their own pains, and their own evolution, how they have been through. And every individual, Rajiv, is living by their own rule book, which they have internally. And we call it as their belief systems. You can call it their programming, whatever it is. And for example, let's understand this. Whatever I do is right according to me, because that is what my internal rule book is asking me to do. So when we see that other person, whatever you can term it as, that person is right in whatever he's doing. In his eyes, he's right. But for us, he's not the right person. He's not doing the right thing because our value system is not allowing that perspective or perception of us. So, first thing I would say, acceptance of every individual is unique. Every individual is holding their own story. Every individual is coming from a certain place. That acceptance is very powerful because the time we don't accept, we keep on blaming and expecting, Rajiv. When we don't accept, we expect and we blame. And expectations and blame game will never give that peace of mind. So acceptance is important. Now, having said this, if we just keep on accepting, then we might end up being a doormat.
Well,
Or if
that's
we keep
also
on
true.
accepting, yes, we will just find ourselves in a very deep, dark place. And that's where having your own mental and emotional boundaries are very important. Just like we have our boundaries in our house that no one is allowed inside without our permission. Similarly, we need to have those mental and emotional boundaries as well. Hey, listen, this is what my boundary is, and no one can step beyond this. And if we start being vocal about it, that is what ultimately helps. I really love this saying by Jim Rohn. He says that always stand by the door of your subconscious mind so that no one enters your subconscious mind without your permission. Similarly, your mental and emotional spaces needs to be safeguarded by you.
So, Alok, is easier said than done, right?
Yes,
And you need to train your mind.
yes,
Like, I mean, I go to gym sometimes to get the muscle mass, the bone, so that I get stronger.
yes,
I think I need to train my mind, right? I mean,
yes,
it needs exercises. What are those?
yes. So, mental exercises, Rajiv, that is very contextual. So, when we talk about meditation, that's a mental exercise. And let's understand the basic requirement of mental exercises is to be mentally and emotionally strong. Just like our physical muscles, we have mental muscles. And some of the topmost mental muscles that we need to focus on is our focus and our awareness. And awareness is the bedrock of doing anything and everything, I would say. And I use this statement that physical muscles make you look good, mental muscles make you live good, right? Because when you're mentally strong, it's like building your mental and emotional immune system. When we our physical immune system is strong, we are healthy. When our mental immune system is strong, we are able to combat with any kind of negative feedback or any someone coming and snapping at us, or maybe someone trying to pull us down, or someone trying to outsmart us, or in that ways we'll be able to hold ourselves tall and strong. Mental practice, it comes in different forms and shapes. Number one is, let's say, practice, whether you practice meditation, whether you practice gratitude, whether you practice focus. For example, let's talk about gratitude for that matter. Gratitude strengthens a particular part of your brain, Rajiv. If you say gratitude, what is gratitude? It is nothing but it's a simple act of focusing on the glass that is half full. Because most of the times we just keep on focusing on what we lack, what we don't have. But gratitude helps us in channelizing our focus in terms of what we have, what we are blessed with. Acceptance is a mental practice. Meditation is a mental practice. For example, the simple form of mental practice, when we talk about meditation, when you have an anchor, and let's talk about our breath as an anchor. And when you bring your awareness towards your breath over and over again, even when your mind wanders, you bring it back. Your mind wanders, bring it back. You're actually strengthening a particular part of your brain, which is called as insula. And stronger the insula, quicker is your switch time. That's how you strengthen your focus. So there are different types of mental trainings and practices, but they're all contextual to what you're trying to achieve. So the priormost thing is, what is the goal? What is the outcome? What are we trying to achieve?
Okay, so and I'm just discovering myself also, Alok. We have had so many sessions. I've had a
Yes,
couple of sessions
yes,
with you as well.
yes, yes.
Uh, my I think it's a lot of people talk about happiness, right? What is happiness? And I've discovered for myself that happiness is temporary. That and because sometimes I'm at like I get
Mm-hmm.
$20,000 lying on the ground, not lying on the ground. Somebody comes
Mm-hmm.
and he says $20,000 to you. I'm very happy. Now that basically I've discovered that's not happiness. I mean that's just my you know uh, because that's not something which is permanent, right?
Yes.
If people can't giving me $20,000 every minute, or even if they give
Mm-hmm.
after some point, the utility will go down. So I personally, for me, found out that the way to go is stillness. You know, there's you're calm, you're still. Things happen this way or that way. That feeling is a supreme feeling to me. You know, and you talk about mindfulness also, right? Is that
Yes. Mm.
what does that mean in this context? How the mindfulness can help people realizing their so-called happiness, so-called stillness, so-called their full potential. Does it have a place in that?
Yes. Yes, it definitely has a place. In the most simplistic manner, if you have to understand mindfulness, it is nothing but it's a process of building awareness in order to have better clarity. The very essence of awareness is important. The thing is, if we are not aware, Rajiv, we are taken over by our autopilots. And when I talk about autopilots, I'm talking about our habits, our attitudes, and our behavioral patterns. So, this one practice that I keep on doing every single day is that I keep on asking myself this one question: why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? We are either living consciously or we are living accidentally. So when we talk about mindfulness, mindfulness is a process of building awareness so that you are not accidental in life, but you are always conscious in terms of choosing anything, making any decisions, or your responses, your reactions. A Harvard University research says, Rajiv, that 64% of the times you are in the past and the future. So when we talk about the past, I'm talking about the guilt and the regrets of the past. When I talk about the future, it is all about the fears and the anxieties, the ambiguities, the uncertainties of the future. And
So,
then the
so
question is, yeah,
no,
yeah.
come on. Yeah.
And then the question is that what time do we live in the present? What time do we live consciously? We are aware of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Maybe it is just our habits that is dragging us. Maybe it's just those routine patterns that we have built for us. It's like sleepwalking, essentially, if you see. We are sleepwalking the entire day.
Okay. Awareness. Talk a little bit about this, Alok. Look, I understand it a bit, not all the
Yes,
way as much as you do,
yes,
but how will awareness help me? And you know, and awareness and present moment, they're the same thing.
yes. Rajiv, awareness in the most organic form, it is the process of seeing things as they are, as they are, not infected by your past experiences or not infected by your future expected outcomes. When you start looking at things as they are, for example, now you're sitting here and you just ask yourself, okay, what am I feeling right now? You start becoming, or automatically, you start channelizing your mind, your focus towards this present moment. Because most of the times, maybe physically we are idle, but mentally we are never idle. Physically, we are not doing anything. So if someone comes and sees you, okay, I can see Rajiv sitting on the chair, not doing anything. But mentally, we are doing so many things. And that's where the Harvard University research comes in, that most of the times you're in the past and the future. So awareness is nothing but it's the process of staying here. It's like aligning your body with your mind, because most of the times our mind is running ahead of our body. Our body is here, but the mind is somewhere else. So the process of aligning your body with your mind, that's the practice of awareness. So that whatever you do, you are 200% in that process. If you are eating your food, you are with your food. Mentally, emotionally, physically, you are there.
But mind is a monkey.
Mind is a monkey, yes. That's the reason we use that term called monkey mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And it's important for us to tame that monkey so that the monkey works for us. We don't end up working for the monkey.
Yeah. 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 That's right. Now, uh, let's say, I mean, in general, Alok,
Yeah.
a person comes to
Yes.
you and says that, Alok, I want to build a meaningful life. And
Yes.
when I'm saying, and again, meaning differs according to everybody, right? I just say that
Yes. Yes.
want to have a life where, goal driven, happy life. Is there a what do you tell? Is there a the life should have some kind of a routine schedule? Do you emphasize on that? I mean, look, I'm looking at, I come from office, watch
Yeah.
Netflix till 12, sleep, wake up at 6, 7, have breakfast, go. Then, that is a kind of an, what's it doesn't sound like optimal life to me, actually. It has so I have lots of ups and downs, so
Yes.
if I wanna sustained momentum in life,
Yes. Yes.
what do you think? What practices? How should I go?
Rajiv, when we talk about routine, it's a very funny phenomena, because most of the times, if you see, we look at routine from a very black and white perspective. That, okay, everyone needs to have a routine, and routine should be like this. You should get up early in the morning. You should sleep early in the night, and this and that. Routine is very much contextual, and routine highly depends on what are you planning to achieve. A routine for an athlete would be completely different from that of maybe a surgeon, a doctor. A routine for a working professional will be completely different compared to a business person. So the routine completely differs from what you are trying to achieve in your life. And there is nothing as in, you have to wake up early in the morning. It also depends on what kind of personality you have. When you are productive, what hours of the day you are productive.
But
If you
isn't it
find your
isn't it like
Hmm.
aligning yourself with nature? Nature is a powerful force. Like even the Hindu
Yes,
scriptures have said, rise
yes,
up with the
yes,
sun, sleep with
Hmm.
when the things there light don't have
Yes,
lights at the night time. When you see sun in the morning, it helps your circadian rhythm. I'm
yes,
coming
yes,
more from the
yes.
point of view that should we defy the nature and build our own routine, or should we align our routine to the nature?
The thing is, you rightly said that, the circadian rhythm, the melatonin cycle, everything depends. And earlier we had no clocks. The sunrise used to be our alarm, and the stars used to be like our night time. But the thing is, Rajiv, it's see, again, everything comes back to awareness. How aware you are about your bodily performance, because all the systems, they differ. They have their unique performance parameters. So if there is one person X who is really productive in the morning, who's able to think out of the box, who's able to be creative, do more in the morning. There's another person who is more productive and creative in the night hours. So optimization lies in understanding your strengths and then trying to align that particular thing in terms of your routine. But as you said, if we have to look from a standard routine perspective, uh, I would say this is what I follow. I have divided my day into 5 different aspects, and most of my students and mentees, they follow this. So I call it as the prime time, P.R.I.M.E. So prime time is wherein the most 5 important areas of your life are taken care of. So it's your physical aspect, your rejuvenation aspect, your intellectual aspect, your mental aspect, and your emotional aspect. So these are the most important areas of your life. And most of the times, if you see, Rajiv, we have this complaint that there is no work-life balance. We are out of balance. So how do we put that in place? That is because, Rajiv, if you see, at every age and stage of our life, our priorities keep on changing. Right? When you look at a child who is going to school or college, that's when there's a different list of priorities. When a person gets into a job, the priorities change. When a person gets married, priorities change. Gets into a family life, priorities change. So when we are not able to, number one, identify our priorities, number two, if you're not able to take care of them, automatically we start feeling out of balance. So taking care and taking charge of these 5 areas, your physical aspect, your rejuvenation, your intellectual, your mental, and your emotional, it will put you back on track. So when you talk about physical, it is about what can you do in order to make your body strong for at least 20 or 25 minutes. You do your exercises, yoga, cycling, whatever you feel like, swimming, whatever you feel like. Then comes rejuvenation. Rajiv, this is one of the areas which is very much ignored. And when I talk about rejuvenation, it is about doing something that really makes sense to you, something that gives you joy. Because most of the times, we keep on doing things as per the societal standards. We keep on, looking out for that external validation. But rejuvenation is wherein you do something that gives you joy and happiness. It can be reading a book, it can be going on a long drive, it can be spending time with your family, it can be just your me time, something that you do for yourself. It can be singing, dancing, anything that you feel like. Then comes intellectual. Intellectual is wherein you keep on, feeding your intellectual bank. You learn something, because there are only 2 modes, according to me, in life. That is, you're either growing or you're decaying. So every day, make sure that you're learning something. You're feeding your intellectual bank. Then comes M, which is mental. So taking care of your mind by stabilizing it, by breathing practices, by meditation, by focus. And then comes E, which is emotional. So gratitude is one of the best practices there, because it's like channelizing and training your focus towards things that you're blessed with. That's important. So just by taking care of these 5 areas, P-R-I-M-E, it becomes your prime time and you start feeling aligned.
So I think
Yes,
this
Rajiv.
this this looks like a good framework. I mean, it's like these are basic human needs, right? What you've talked about.
Yes.
I mean, not human needs. I mean, they differ. But let's somebody work in a corporate world, or somebody doing
Yes.
office job, or you entrepreneur. This seems like the 5 areas which all we crave for, and one or two
Yes.
they do get neglected, right? And
Yes.
that's where the stress and things keep building up.
Yes.
What's the role of breathing exercises, Alok? I mean, how do they help? I mean, you recommended me some breathing
Yes.
exercises, and they made me
Yes.
better. In terms of I kind of feel better the whole day. But what is the scientific basis of those?
There are many, Rajiv, many. See, the thing is, the basic understanding of breathing, breath is life, as simple as that. You're breathing, that oxygen itself is healing component. With
Okay.
every breath, you're healing yourself. With every breath, you're healing yourself. And Rajiv, from the spiritual context, if you see, I come from a spiritual background. We talk about life force energy, and I've been blessed to be connected with a lot of masters. And every time the master used to say that always practice conscious breathing. Conscious breathing is wherein you are aware of your breath. Because most of the times, if you see, we are not even aware that we are breathing. That's an involuntary process which is going on. We don't have that switch in our hands, right? Otherwise, it would have been disaster. We are very busy. Okay, forgot to breathe. But nature is smart, right? That is an involuntary process. The time you start breathing consciously, that's when you are inhaling life force energy, not just oxygen, which is also called as pranvayu in Hindi. So as you breathe, whenever you're conscious about your breathing, every breath that is going in, every breath that is going out, the quality of your breath is completely different compared to you breathing on an autopilot. The second thing is when you breathe consciously, you feel that relaxation instantly. Even when you take 2 to 3 conscious breaths, you are relaxed. Otherwise, you are breathing the entire day, but you still feel a lot of stress and anxiety. But just by taking those 2 to 3 conscious breaths, which is called as mindful breathing, you're aware of every breath that is going in, every breath that is going out. When you're breathing in, when you're breathing out, how does your body feel? The entire process, you're watching it as if you're watching it under a microscope, and you're with the breath. That itself is a healing process. Now, that's one aspect of it. The second aspect, there are many different types of breathing patterns. So we talk about alternate breathing, which is called as anulom vilom. Now, what happens is that our right nostril is connected with the left hemisphere of the brain. Our left nostril is connected with the right hemisphere of the brain. So when you do that alternate breathing practice, you are triggering and you are balancing both the sides of your hemisphere, both the sides of your brain, your left and right. Now, left hemisphere, of course, has different role to play. Right has different role to play. So you're triggering various different parts of your brain, Rajiv. So that, of course, it boils down to your effectiveness, your efficiency, your focus, your awareness, your creativity, your memory. There are many different areas of your brain that are triggered. Now, having said that, there's something called as parasympathetic nervous system, which is a part of our central nervous system. And parasympathetic nervous system is directly related to the relaxation response. So every time we breathe consciously, we are triggering and we are activating that parasympathetic nervous system. And when that happens, we feel good, we feel relaxed, we feel calm.
That's
Now, there is one more phenomena when we talk about the brain waves, beta, alpha, theta, delta. There are many different brain waves. And most of the times, if you see, we are living in that beta brainwave state wherein there's a lot of multitasking that happens, a lot of juggling that happens in terms of thoughts and emotions. But as you start breathing, as you start practicing mindful breathing, you stay with your breath, you start switching towards alpha state, which is, you are aware, you are focused, but at the same time, you are relaxed. So many different
no,
advantages
it's
of
it's
breathing.
amazing. It's so much of science into it. Now,
Yes.
sometimes I think, Alok,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stress, and we've seen the anxiety cases increasing, right? Depression cases
Mm.
are increasing, right? Some of that and I think the conclusions keep changing, right? As you grow, as you experience things, you tend to think of things in different lights, different perspective. One of the
Yeah.
things is that a lot of our issues are because we have forgot we have forgotten the ancient wisdom. You know, we are trying to reinvent something which
Mm.
isn't making. We're trying to change
Mm.
the rules of the game. That's the ego. That the human ego is trying to change the rules of the game. You know, whether it's a Bible or whether it's a Gita or whether it's a Quran, there is a lot of our ancestors have done a lot of work
Yes.
for us, but we don't
Yes.
accept it. We
Yes.
want to change it. We want to change the rules of the
Mm.
game. The game is still same.
Yes.
It's. I mean, we're better off living that game. What do you think about it?
Yes. 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 It is the same. I would say the most simplest things are the most powerful things, Rajiv. And now this brings me to this thought that Buddha said that one of the most powerful ways of meditation is staying with your breath. The most powerful way of meditation is to just watch your breath. But for example, if I go and ask someone that, I'm going to teach you one of the most powerful ways of meditation. Okay, here it is. 1, 2, 3, start doing this. The second question would be like, really, Alok? I thought some really nice, complicated
Oh, you are the coach.
procedure, some amazing procedure was about to come, and something was going to happen,
Uh,
right? So
got this magic bag, magic wand of
yes,
Alok will come out and
yes,
uh-huh.
yes, yes, yes. The thing is, we are living in a complicated world, Rajiv, and our brain is trying to adapt to that complication. This is what I think. And we have started creating a lot of complication around us. And in the process, what happens is the most simplest things which are lying in front of us, we ignore them. It is like, I read this story about Albert Einstein. I'm not sure how true it is,
Hmm.
but the story said that Albert Einstein had two cats. One was a kitten and one was a full-grown cat. And he made a house for them, and he made two doors, one smaller door and a bigger door. A smaller door for a smaller cat to come in and inside and out, and the bigger door for the bigger cat to come in and out. Right. So, I mean, one big door could have done the magic. Yes, it would have solved the purpose. Why you want two doors? One for the smaller, the kitten, and the one for the big. So the thing is, we are constantly in this pursuit of solving bigger problems and creating some groundbreaking stuff, and in the process we lose those smaller things and the processes which are already there with us. We want to reevaluate, we want to repackage, and we forget looking at those simpler and most powerful stuff that we already have it in our pockets, in our
What's the
bank.
what's the most powerful stuff around you, around me? In my view, it's nature, and that's a realization I'm becoming 15 sometime. Now I've had this realization that the nature is the most powerful force, and we
Yes.
took these trees, we took these parks, we took these lakes for granted, but this is most powerful. And as long as we align ourselves to what nature has taught us, I think we'll be far better off than what we are. I mean, what's your what's your understanding where you see this?
Rajiv, in terms of what is the most powerful thing, I would say I've always believed in this, and I think our power of choice
Okay.
is the most powerful stuff. Most powerful stuff. We as human beings, we are blessed with this element of choice. And that's our superpower. In any situation, no matter what kind of situation you are in, you always have a power to choose what you want, and no one can take away that power from you. No one. I really love what Viktor Frankl has said in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, that no one can take away your capacity to perceive a situation in the way you want that situation to be perceived. People can restrict you in different ways, but no one can restrict the way you look at things. So that mindset, that perspective, that power of choice is the
Okay. I
super
think
stuff that we have.
that's amazing. Two more questions, Alok.
Yes, yes.
One is corporate monk.
Yeah.
I want to be and it's a term which I really like. I read
Yeah.
Robin Sharma's book little bit halfway. What was it? This the
Yes.
this
Yes.
the surfer CEO. Uh, I mean, I forgot the title. It's basically the leadership book. The Saint, the
Mm.
Surfer, and the CEO.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Mm.
Robin Sharma's book, and I read what you call corporate monk, and
Yeah.
being present, calm,
Yes. Mm.
equanimity, and all that stuff. I like. How to be a corporate monk? What does it actually mean?
There's a story behind this, Rajiv. The thing is, I, I'm a student of mindfulness, and I'll always be one. And I keep on doing my research. And while I was planning one of my programs, this random thought just struck, and that was, how would a monk behave if he's placed in a corporate context? So if a monk has to, attend a meeting, a crazy meeting, or maybe has to come up with his numbers and perform, etc., etc., etc. Or maybe he's just bashed by his boss, then, or long working hours for that matter. How would a monk behave? And the three basic patterns that I was able to see when I studied a lot of monks, Buddhist monks, Vietnamese monks, and Sanatan monks. These three qualities were, most of the monks that I saw, they're stress proof. Number two, they're emotionally smart, emotionally intelligent. And number three, they're confident. So when I say stress proof, that means that no matter what life throws at them, they are in control of themselves. They know how to handle themselves because stress is not going anywhere. But if you learn techniques, if you learn strategies and tools to handle yourself in any given situation, your perspective defines your experience of life. So that's number one, the first quality to develop in order to be a corporate monk. The second is to manage and handle and be in control of your emotions in such a way that you are controlling your emotions. Your emotions are working for you, not the other way around. And the third thing is to be confident. I saw that most of the monks, no matter where they are, whether they are talking to 10 people or 10,000 people, whatever they are wearing, no matter what they're wearing, they're always confident.
Okay.
And these three qualities, if we are able to integrate, ingrain in us, so that was the context of the being a corporate monk. And it all starts with being aware and being mindful, because even we look at confidence, awareness leads to confidence. If you're aware of your strengths, if you are aware of in which situation you are the best, if you are aware, you can anticipate. When you anticipate, you can prepare. When you can prepare, you can automatically be confident.
It's amazing. I think the
Yes.
last question, Alok, a lot of
Yeah.
wisdom there, and I think I can go on and on. This area of my interest. And
Yes.
uh, how do people? Any couple of books come to your mind, right? Which people can you know read and talk about. Like, what are your favorite books on these subjects?
Uh, Raji, there are many, many. Um, there is this book called 1 Second Ahead. That's a very powerful book, 1 Second Ahead, which focuses on mindfulness. Uh, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It's a beautiful book because that changes your perspective. Deep Work is another book which is really good. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg is again a wonderful book. Um, and there's this one book called as 365 Days of Wisdom. I
Okay.
love that book because it is beautifully, uh, planned. There are 365 values, there are 365 ideas. Every day you just read one page, and that's a very good book. Yes, there's this another book called Search Inside Yourself.
Okay.
Again, a very nice book on emotional intelligence and mindfulness. Yes,
Amazing.
many, there are many.
No, no, I think
Yeah,
these. I mean, obviously, if there are certain books coming out for you, obviously you filtered so many.
yeah.
You must have read so many books which probably
Yes,
didn't
yes,
resonate
yes.
with you. And so I think, Alok, on that note, thank you so much, and really appreciate your time. Uh,
Thank you.
Most gratitude to you, and lot of best wishes to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajiv. Keep on doing what you're doing. God bless you and stay strong, Rajiv. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.